So, Cicero's work De Senectute is a work about old age. It's a philosophical dialogue about old age, which you might think is the least possibly interesting topic, possibly the least interesting topic on the face of the universe. I, for myself, as I approach old age and I deal with a 90-year-old mother and father and an 82-year-old mother-in-law, I think about old age a lot. Okay? In Cicero's work, De Senectute, he says, Memoriae vitae bene actae multorumque benefactorum iacunda est. And this is today's long-winded phrase of the day, and guess what it's full of? P cubes. Okay, can you spot one? Yes, octi. And I know this is not going to work the way it should. Oh, it works the way it should. Kind of. I'm not going to be able to pull up the eraser. Any other p cubed? Iacunda actually isn't one. And here's a little, I don't know, trick is not quite the right word. Perfect passive participles. And I know that's kind of hard to read. I think I did pretty well, given that the smartboard wasn't aligned. The stems of perfect passive participles, not the actual ending, but the stem, always ends in a T or an S. Like octi, if we covered up the AE, the stem would end in a T. There are a few that end in S, but T or S are the only options. So where's the other P cubed? Yeah, right. Factorum. Okay. All right. So if you had to tell me what octi describes, what would it be? Jacoba. Actually doesn't have the same ending as Memoria, so yes. I pronounce it vitae, okay, as in on a scale of, never mind, okay. Yeah, it modifies vitae. And notice what's in between, this lovely adverb, bene. All right, let's go ahead and translate up through octi. And that's normally not how I would approach it, but I want to get this moving on. Been living? What's living? Bene doesn't mean good, it means well. And a well is a hole in the ground, and if you don't translate it appropriately, you might find yourself in a well. Okay? And Lassie will need to rescue you. Okay. Lassie, yes. 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 Do you guys see what a long sentence this is already in English? And you might say, it's too long. Let's get rid of the relative clause. But I want to gear you guys up to translating p cubes in a manner, as I outlined yesterday, okay, that uses subordinate clauses. And Bryce, I'll probably have to print out the PowerPoint if that would be helpful to you. I'm having difficulty getting the videos uploaded. I should be able to catch up on that this weekend. Long and short of it, you translate the noun. If you're going to choose a relative pronoun, great. then translate it with the relative, or after the noun life, use the relative pronoun. Then a passive verb, which has been lived, and that is going to indicate action prior to the main verb. The main verb, it's good to look at, and we'll notice it's just est, all by its lonesome. Okay, Yokunda is an adjective. You guys will learn it later. All right, the memory of a life which has been lived well, and of, and notice I'm taking the of from the fact that multorum also has a genitive ending. Well, I want to notice that bene doesn't mean great. It's an adverb, and its best translation is always well. What if this is a substantive? What if it's a neuter and plural substantive? So the memory of a life which has been spent well and of, Joey? Yeah. And you might say this is getting really wordy, Mr. Habel, and I can't but agree with you. But that's because English is a wordy language. Okay. As we work from the compactness of Latin to the expansiveness, thank you, of English, we're going to encounter situations where the Latin short, English stretches on for many clauses. All right, and of many, did I write the? Okay, this is technically difficult. I do this the old-fashioned way. Okay, and of the many good things, did I say good? What am I doing with good? Something's not right up here today. I apologize. So the memory of a life which has been lived well, and of the many things which have been made or done well is Mukunda is a word that means joyful or joyous, providing joy or happiness. Are you creeped out now? Okay, just kidding. A smile like that, never mind. All right, so long and short of it, long-winded prepositional, or sorry, subordinate clauses in English. But it gets to sometimes the necessity of taking a phrase, because you get lost along the way. The memory of a life lived well and of many things done well, actually that kind of flows, is joyous. And if you're old, like me, you can look back on things that you've done well, unlike this lesson, and a life well lived. I don't know about that, okay? And be happy. It's an adjective, okay? Yokunda is an adjective here with a feminine ending that describes memoria. Okay. All right, so that kind of slaughtered today's phrase of the day. But there we go. So, looking at monety, do you see it as a p cubed? Okay. From moneo, monera, monoi, monetus. With the ending long I, monety can be the p cubed of moneo. And with a long I ending, it has the potential to be either genitive singular, masculine or neuter, or it could also be nominative plural masculine. Any instinct on how to take it? Let me give you the short answer, yes, which could potentially match up with the implied we subject of poteramos, because we is plural as a subject, and monity can be referring to that nominative plural subject of poteramos, then yes. Oops. I don't know why it's flashing an eraser at me. So that said, one of the things that didn't quite make its way into our lecture yesterday was that when a participle is in the nominative case and it's not directly describing a noun in the sentence, or a pronoun in the sentence, since the authors are counting on you to get the subject from the verb's ending, it may be challenging to translate it with a relative clause. It's possible to do it, but it may be challenging. And one of the things that sometimes you might consider doing when you're encountering these p cubes is translating everything else in the sentence first, other than the p cubed, and in some cases other than the words between the p cubed and the noun that it describes, if there is one. The short answer is monity describes the we subject. Does that tell you how to handle it? Not really. Okay. So, shall we do number 3 as our sample sacrificial victim? Okay. All right. Let's try this strategy. Since monity does not directly describe a noun in the sentence, let's leave off translating it. Doesn't mean that we won't come back and get it, but if we leave off translating it, what are we left with? Okay. There's vos, but I don't know how that fits in with poteramos. I better guess it's not nominative case. So maybe it's the direct object. De periculo, that looks like a prepositional phrase. Oh, consulere, that's an infinitive. Maybe it's the direct object. Vos is the direct object of consulere. Oh, I got it. You guys tell me what I have. To consult you about the danger Now that translates everything but monity. Monity is a word that its only connection to the sentence is describing that we subject. Okay, allows us to get a sense of what else is going on in the sentence. However, we can still apply the translation strategies for monity with a subordinate clause that we learned yesterday. Anyone have an instinct on a type of clause to use? Okay, Athena? Temporal clause. Could work nicely. Yeah, it's good. Owen? Okay, that will certainly work here. And because this is one of the few sentences where an adversative clause works really well, I'm going to suggest that we try it. Now in the lecture I referred to it as adversative or concessive / adversative. What is a good conjunction for such a clause? Although. Okay. So I'm going to pretend with my magic smartboard that I have room at the front of the sentence. Although, and then we need to choose an appropriate subject pronoun. The appropriate subject pronoun, we. Okay? Because monody is describing the we subject of poteramus, pulling the we pronoun out of thin air is appropriate here. The root meaning is worn, but we need to fashion it in a way that is passive and before the main verb. Okay? Let me take it back to Joy and see what you come up with. Yeah, although we had been warned, whoops, comma, we were not able to consult you about the danger. Okay. So, Jake and Owen find out in fourth period from one of their friends that I'm in a really bad mood, that tore the head off of a seventh grader's doll that she brought to class and stomped on it. And so they know I'm really mad, and they don't do anything, to trigger me, but they don't have time to tell Joey. And Joey walks in and says, "Hey, Swagalicious." And then, okay, I react in rage. Just kidding. Okay. And I rip the head off of Joey's doll and stomp on it. Just kidding. I wouldn't be such a violent person. Okay. All right. That is a sentence, that is a context, excuse me, that is a context, very unlikely, but perhaps real, in which this sentence would apply. Although we had been warned, we were not able to consult you to let you know about the danger. That's pretty terrible. Okay. Better hit the edit button on this recording. Other questions? I'm going to try to keep the other questions simple and focused and give you straight factual answers rather than work through a whole big thingy. But do you guys have any? Now, I will tell you, Emma, if you used a temporal clause on number 3, that is not wrong. It is just fine. Okay? Okay? Okay. Right. And what you're going to hear from me is that, as we get to more and more complex Latin sentences, as we're going to do in Latin 2 and next year in Latin 3, you're going to have more leeway to make judgments. And sometimes your judgment will be wrong, and I'll let you know that in as polite a fashion as I am able. And sometimes your judgment will be right on and a-okay, and yeah, you'll have some leeway. All right, questions? Ooh, pass them up then. And if you have questions about which version of the sentence, you can either look on the monitor or ask. Did you want me to print out PowerPoint from what you missed on Wednesday? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry for that yesterday. Hey, can you write it right here? He's doing an awesome job. Once again, the monitor has displayed itself. Just realigned itself. Okay. Oh my goodness. I guess it's not much of a privilege when it resizes itself. Oh my goodness. Okay. Tell you what. Can I be the volunteer?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's good. It was a bold effort. Okay. I grade it regularly. I kind of messed up right there. Okay, not perfect, but you guys can read it. Poelam quae a tuo teruerat spectavi. Now, it was a bold, innovative contribution. Thank you. What would you guys change, if anything? Guys or girls? Non-gender specific here. Cool. So I'll write teruit, but I'm going to notice something. To both teruerat and teruit look active. And my understanding of who had been scared is that it's passive. So what could we take from teruerat, and even though I just erase it, keep? You could keep erat and pair it with Flaminea? No? No? Nearly. Oh my gosh. You can't look at what you're writing. That's the secret. But I'm going to change it to tereta. Why? Because she's feminine. Okay. So, now, me personally, Spectawi borderlines on creeperness. I watched. Okay, sorry. We've been over this before. I don't want to make it sound creeperish. Weedy is more precisely I saw, and that's a-okay. So I saw the accusative case girl, direct object, who, nominative case relative pronoun, okay, had been frightened, fully conjugated verb because this is a real relative clause, pluperfect and passive, by your masculine thing or your neuter thing. We need one more change. Tuo should be te. Now, please save this. We don't have time to finish going over it. Please save this and we'll make this a warm-up on Monday.